Okay guys, I presume this is recording. Hello once again, and welcome to another episode of Through My Eyes. Hopefully another exciting episode. So today, as I promised earlier to some of my social media followers, I am going to be demonstrating what's called DigitEyes, D-I-G-I-T-E-Y-E-S, all one word. It is an app for smartphones. I know it works on the iPhone. It may be available for other phones. I'm not 100% sure on that, however. But anyway, what it does is allows blind and visually impaired people, such as myself, to identify various items that one can buy in the store. Primarily groceries, but also other items, as I understand it. I've just used it for groceries, but in any case, it does this by utilizing, I believe it's called QR code technology. Excuse me. But anyway, barcodes, the barcodes that you see on any item these days, commercial item. And what it does is you can scan that barcode as a blind person using this app. The app will look up the barcode, and it will give you, after a few seconds or so, an identification for that particular object based on the barcode. So basically you scan the barcode and it identifies what that object is for you. It gives you the brand name and the what the item is, right? And sometimes it'll give you some other information, depending on what information is available in the database it uses. Like it'll give you maybe the size of the item and sometimes even cooking instructions. Now, I don't know exactly what database it uses. I don't have all the technical background on it. But because I found that some items already are not apparently in the database. And again, I don't know what database it actually uses. Now, I'll tell you what happens in cases where the item is not in the database in a minute, after I get done demonstrating the basic functionality of the app. Alright, since you have a basic understanding of how this app works, now let me go ahead and try to demonstrate it. Now, in order for me to see what I'm doing, making this video podcast, I had to get the camera pretty close to me, and I don't have anyone else to record this at this point. So I would like to get the table into the shot that I'm sitting at, but again, it's just not possible having it this close, and so I'm going to be doing some things differently than I would normally do if I was using this app, on a daily basis. For one, normally when I'd scan an object, I would have it on a table in front of me rather than having to hold it, just to make it more steady and level when I scan a barcode. Because sometimes if there's any distortion in the barcode, it'll say that it can't find an item when the item is in the database, but the barcode's distorted to the camera, and so it doesn't always pick up on what the barcode is if there's distortion of any kind. Bags can be a bit problematic, and so can rounded objects like bottles or cans. Which brings up, before I get started, another subject of discussion that I might want to point out. If you're going to get this app, or if you are going to get this app for someone you know, recommend it to someone you know who's blind or whatnot, or even print impaired in some other way, for instance, can't read for some other reason. This app is also valuable for them if they use VoiceOver on their iPhone. But anyway, this app works best for 5th generation iDevices. I believe the iPod now has at least a 5th generation, iPod 5 then, 5th generation, and 5th generation, and the iPhone 5, just because the camera quality is much better. I've never tried this app on an iPod 4G, which I also have, but I've heard it doesn't really work nearly as well. So, try to have them work their app on an iPhone 5 or an iPod 5th generation. Alright, I think I've covered all the territory that I need to preliminarily, so let's go ahead and see what I can do with this. Again, I'm doing some things slightly differently, so it might take a little bit longer for this vodcast than it would, video podcast, whatever you wish to call it. than it normally would, when I was doing this in real life. Alright, so in front of me now, I have a box. And just because of where I found it and the shape of it, I know it's some kind of box of hot tea. Tea bags. So, a bunch of tea bags in it. But, so I'm gonna... Now, I do have some vision, so I can see some labels, depending on the contrast and the size of the print and various other factors, lighting conditions, all that. So first, I'm going to pick this up and try to find the front and see if I can see the label on its own, without having to use this app, okay? So I feel around, and usually the top has a perforation in it, especially if it's open, which this already is. So I presume this is the top of the box here, okay? And so I know that the label for tea is usually right around here. And again, this is the kind of reasoning that blind and visually impaired people use all the time to make things more convenient and quicker for themselves. They observe these little sort of commonalities in their environment. It actually makes things a lot quicker to get accomplished. But anyway, so I'm going to look here in the front, and I'm looking, and I can see a Lipton label on the front because that's good contrast, light text, dark background, which is best for me. Best for me, in fact, is white text on black, but light text, dark background works as well. But I'm looking below it where I presume what Lipton tea it is going to be located, and the contrast is a little bit worse. And so I can see there's print there, but I can't exactly tell you what it is. I'm going to show the camera. You might be able to see it on here, I'm not sure, but here's the front of it. So you guys can get a look-see, at least sighted folks who watch this can get a look-see. Right, there it is. And so, okay, I can't figure out what this is, visually. So I'm going to look around for a barcode. Now I do have enough vision usually to see where a barcode is and to tell that it's a barcode. And so, now there are some blind folks who don't have nearly that much vision, and so they use little deductive little tricks and use commonalities in their environment to estimate or guesstimate where it might be. One of those commonalities is the fact that barcodes usually are located on the bottom of a box or on one of the sides of the box. So you start there. And so, even for myself, it makes it quicker because I have a limited visual field, and so it takes me, even with the sight that I have, a little longer to locate certain things like that. So I'm going to first look at the bottom of this. And voila! Right there. You might be able to see the barcode. Found it on the lower right corner. Bottom or sides, close to the edges. That's generally how it works. Alright, I'm going to put this down and bring up my app. Now, actually, though, before I do that, again, just some more notes on this. These kinds of apps that use the camera to identify things, there are others besides barcode readers. There are color identifiers and other such identifiers for blind folks out there, apps specifically designed for blind folks like this one, that use the camera. They're certainly easier for those with some vision to operate, but totally blind people can use them as well. It may take a couple more tries to get things in the camera view, but they can use them as well, and sometimes apps have little helps in them, so for instance, with this one, it has little beeps that tell you when you're getting close to a barcode if you have difficulty seeing where a barcode is. So, I think this should be loud enough, my iPhone. I'm going to use VoiceOver in conjunction with this app. This app doesn't have voice on its own, so you have to use VoiceOver to work with it. I demonstrated VoiceOver on a previous podcast, actually the episode right before this one. So if you want to know more about how I use this iPhone, just a standard iPhone, you can go to that episode. Alright, so I'm going to bring up my iPhone.
5:28 p.m. 5:29 p.m.
Okay, and I'm going to unlock.
Unlock.
I'm going to bring up the app.
DigitEyes. Scan.
And actually my app's already up here, so I don't have to bring it up. And
List. Scan.
now there is, let me start from the upper left.
5:23 ADDENDA network. 3 list. Scan.
So, the first button you come to on the app is a scan button. Now that's what you use to scan the barcode. Now, what I would like on this app, just a little bit of a side note, is for the camera to be up at all times. Like right when you bring up the app, the camera comes up. Because right now you have to start out by estimating where the camera is in relation to where your barcode is, and then scan it, and then the camera comes up, and then you have to center the barcode more fully if you're kind of off on it. But anyway, just a bit of a note there. So, and the next button, just so you know,
List. Button.
is a list button. Now, this app is not just a barcode scanner alone, but you have other little bells and whistles that are attached to it as well. The list button allows you to scan items and then save them on a list. So if you want to get something, say at the store or whatever, you can save them on a list as a grocery list. So you have all your information there when you go shopping, brand name, size, all of that, whatever's in the database that you scanned from, and you can create a grocery list that way. So there's one little additional bell and a whistle there.
Audio labels. Button.
Audio labels, it's the next button. That, let me turn this up a little bit. Not sure how well you can hear it, but that audio labels button allows you to record customized audio labels. So you can actually record "this is blah blah blah," whatever it is, along with getting the readout of the object on your phone read by voiceover. This, as I understand it, can be helpful for blind folks who maybe want to add additional information besides just the product name and brand name and size. I don't use it. I just usually stick with the voiceover readout. But anyway, that's there.
More. Button.
And there's a more option, which I'm going to
Audio
go
labels.
to.
Button. More. Button.
And there
Barcode scanners. Website. Button. Scanning tips. Button.
you can get scanning tips, like I just kind of explained a few of them.
Website. Button.
Go to the app's website.
Email support. Button.
You can get email support for the app.
Support at DigitEyes. Barcode scanners. Button.
And there's a barcode scanners button. I'm not sure what that is. I've never really even used it. So I'm not really sure off the top what that is.
Login. Button.
Login. This, if you have an account with the website, you can do some other more personalized things.
3.2.0.
And there's just the version number.
Back.
I'm
Button.
going to go back.
Back. Scan. Button.
Alright, so I've covered the basic front-facing page, if you will, of the app. I'm not sure technically what you call that, but such as it is. Alright, so now I'm going to try to scan this barcode. I'm going to put this up here so you all can see it as I'm scanning. I think this should work. I think this is in the view. Is it in the view? Yeah, it's in the view. There it is. And I'm going to try to scan it like this. Again, that's unusual for me to do it. Usually it's on a flat surface, but I just want to have this up here so you can see what I'm doing with this phone and all that. Alright, so I'm going to put my phone approximately over the barcode.
Scan.
And I'm going to scan, hit the scan button. And where's that? There it is. I have to move.
Prepare barcode. Lipton green tea bags 20 at 0.99 ounces.
See, I had to move it back a little bit because it wasn't picking up the entire barcode because I had it too close to the iPhone because I wanted to get it in the shot. But anyway, it actually just now it scanned barcode and it did, if you heard it, in a couple of seconds identify what it was. And I'm going to have voiceover read it aloud for you guys again because I'm not sure if you heard it. So,
Lipton green tea bags 20 at 0.99 ounces.
Lipton green tea bags, what was it, I think 20 pack?
Lipton green tea bags 20 at 0.99 ounces.
0.99 ounces. Okay, so again, you've got the brand, you've got the type of tea, and you have the size. So that's how it works. Again, you can add this to a list if you want and all of this, but I mainly wanted to show you how blind people can identify objects with this cool little iPhone app. Now, it is a paid app, but it's, in my opinion, it is very much worth it for what you get. I believe it's between $5 and $10 the last time I checked. I'm not sure, of course, what that is in international currency. I presume it works in other nations as well, but I'm not 100% certain on that. So I think that I've covered everything that I want to show you on this app. Again, just the basics of how blind people identify things with it. Again, if you have any questions on anything that I have said here, or certainly on any of my other podcast episodes, please do let me know, and I will do my best to answer those questions on an upcoming Through My Eyes episode. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can pause this, stop this thing, and I shall talk with you guys all later. Sorry, I'm kind of leaning in. I'm going to have to stop this thing.